what's going on, people? It's Mr. back again with the View Show. And yes, everyone is excited because we won again. We won again. Yeah, everyone's excited. But before we do start, if you are new to the channel, please do hit the like button, subscribe if you're new. In the comments, if you want to ask any questions, what else he's done, I think he's lost his head. Yeah, if you want to ask any questions,
you're way too excited.
Yeah, you're way too excited. But before we do start, let's introduce everyone. We've got Stephen as usual. How you doing, Stephen?
Yeah, all good.
Yes, we've got the YouTube legend Des Daly.
I don't think I've ever been described like that before.
And we've got a special guest, but we've got the better half. We've got Michaela. It's Matt, the bell end, who's always on the show. But I find him for one show because I've had enough of him. So
too much.
We've got Michaela. How you doing, Michaela?
I'm good. I've caught your horrible cold.
Listen, right. Listen to me, Michaela, because I had COVID and I'm coughing a lot, as everyone's been messaging me. She's blaming me for it. So people are like, it's not me. It's someone else.
We were in a car together for a number of hours, so I'm just putting it out there. And I've tested for COVID for anyone says anything and tax me at games. But no, I'm brilliant. Last night was fantastic. I'm loving this guy. The positivity, it's brilliant. Like his post-match interview was just like, I want to put that on like a tea towel. It was brilliant. It was like a breath of fresh air. Yeah.
Before we do start, you fellas piping up already. I'm stuck to my solicitor for Matt. Listen to me. If you carry on, I can block people, Matt. So if you want to carry on, I can block you. So carry on, Matt. But yeah, like I said, a fantastic win for Nottingham Forest, and the vlog came at 5 o'clock. If you do want to watch it after the show, you can. It was like I said, it was a fantastic day. I went with Des as well. But before we get to start with Des and Michaela, we'll start with you, Stephen. How excited were you yesterday's win?
My kids were in bed, so I just couldn't shout, but I was literally jumping around my living room, my top off. I did. I was swirling it around like that. I went absolutely mental. I just couldn't believe, for you two at the game, the atmosphere must have been incredible that away end.
Oh, it was amazing. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, it was brilliant, wasn't it?
I haven't felt the buzz like that since that Leeds game. That incredible, absolutely. Well, we'll touch on the game later on, but it's just a second half performance. It felt great to be a Forest fan again after that second half. The excitement, like Michaela, your name is, isn't it?
Yes.
Michaela, yeah. Like Michaela said, the buzz, the atmosphere with the fans, the players, Cooper, fist pump in the crowd. Today, you still got that buzz, and that's what we've missed. Like in the last 18 months, we've been losing. Like the following day, after we've lost, it's like we just forget. We just move on. And after that game, incredible.
Stephen, these podcasts have been depressing, haven't they? All talk about it. Well, we lost again.
Yeah, we've just been like that, haven't we?
But it's just so excited. Like hearing positive things, like we won, and it's good. It's a good feeling. Like you know what? When I do my vlogging and editing, I'm happy to edit my vlogs. That's how happy I am. I'm never like happy as much as them, but it's just exciting to be like this. Michaela, like I'll talk to you later in a minute, Des. But Michaela, like how excited are you? Like 7 points out of 3. Like it's amazing, isn't it?
It's brilliant, and I think he's getting better and better. I think the first game, he's like, he's like feeling it out, but I think like the changes, like to come out after the first half was a bit dodgy, wasn't it? Yeah. And then to make those changes, positive changes, not like for like changes, boring changes, like let's just do nothing. It was brilliant, and it worked so well to be able to change that system to make it a back 4 instead of back 3, a back 3 instead of a back 4 was brilliant, and it was inspired, and even grab and coming. It just feels like we've got Forest back, and we're probably not going to do much this season, but just to.
We're at 8 points, though. We're at 8 points.
Yeah, you never know. No, I know, but I'm being realistic. I'm being, we've had such a crap start, but I think this guy talks our language. I think he speaks football. I think the players look so much happier. Like just watching it on TV, you could sense the energy in the crowd, but the players all look happy. They're all, doing Instagram afterwards and tweeting and stuff. We didn't have any of that with Houghton, did we? So, yeah, just brilliant.
Des, I said, I was sat with Des yesterday at the ground, and I think, like I said, the first half wasn't great, but opportunities that it did, like you mentioned, Michaela, like it wasn't like for like grabbing came on for Figueiredo, and it was more good attacking. But tell everyone yesterday how the atmosphere at the ground. What was it like? Tell everyone.
Oh, it was brilliant, wasn't it? It's because we seen what we've been craving for. We seen something a little bit different. There was a large part of the game. It wasn't absolutely fantastic. Probably the first 60 minutes was pretty poor. But what we've seen is a manager sort of take the game by the scruff of the neck, throw caution to the wind a little bit, go against what we're told are his tactics, and he put Graben on, and it all changed. That pace we got in the team all of a sudden, just really sort of grind Barnsley down, and then the atmosphere it was electric. Once that first goal went in, looking back now, I didn't think at the time there was only ever going to be one winner, because it was just electric in that away end, and we just felt as though we're onto something again. You guys went to Huddersfield. I wasn't lucky enough to be there, but to see the results starting to get grind out in that way. The Millwall one was a poor performance, but to see the result get grind out, and now it's 3 unbeaten, and everybody's like, wow, we have got a chance of doing something. Not over the top. Nobody's getting carried away, but we seen a difference, didn't we? We seen something that a little bit out there, and that's all we was asking for. We weren't asking for major things to happen, just somebody to every so often throw caution to the wind.
Stephen, when you seen the lineup, like Johnson, Lolle, and Zinger, I call him. Like, was you surprised there was no strikers not starting, like Graben or Taylor?
I was thinking today about that, and what I like about Cooper so far is he picked the fast front three, because Barnsley are not the quickest team, not the biggest team. They're not a Millwall, so they haven't got like 6 foot 4 inches of giants at the back and big lumps and stuff. So I think he done well with a false 9. I think it was a great tactic, because the pace we had up front yesterday was frightening. I haven't seen a Forest attack that quick since probably Billy Davis's days of Anderson and people like that up front, and Earnshaw. Like, even when we brought Mighton on, the way he set up that third goal, like Des said, the first, what I would say, right, in a weird kind of way, it's us playing not that great in the first half. It showed Cooper's good tactical awareness, how we changed the game.
Yeah. In
a weird kind of way. Like, if we had just started really well from the beginning, great. But it showed a slow build. So he changed the formation. He brought Graben on, which I thought Graben had his best game for a while.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Yeah, but going back to the pace, like Mighton, Lolly, Johnson was electric. The Viking, unbelievable. And in the first half, we showed glimpses. He weren't great, but on the counter, and Johnson could have had another few goals, I thought, in the second half. He had a few chances, a few poor touches. Who was that? But what I love, if you go back and watch the is it the second goal, I think, where from Samba threw it out?
Yeah, Samba.
Yeah.
That would never have happened under Houghton.
Yeah.
100%. I know we're going back to Houghton, but that wouldn't have happened. Samba would have dropped back, held it, gone right, back into shape, back and forth, and play out. The way he sprung that ball out, bang, straight away, and that's what we want to see. We've been crying out for it. And what I'd like just to say, Ian Holloway, right? If you watched him on the EFL program last week, he was saying about the players, about Houghton, right? I'm sorry, that's rubbish, because it shows that with the right management tactics, the players can do it. So Holloway was talking crap when he was about Houghton's this and Houghton's that. No, you give him that freedom, because Cooper's instilled in them that if you get that ball, you launch it. you get the ball forward, which he wasn't doing. So it shows with the pace we got. Just attack teams. That's what we've been crying for. Just attack. Look, it shows what we can do.
As everyone aware, everyone's slating Matt because Matt's he hates Yates. So's Matt.
He doesn't hate him.
No, he does, Michaela. You know,
He doesn't like him.
He doesn't like him. So
he likes him as a person, just not as a footballer. Let's put it that way.
Michaela, if you're looking at past shows, your fella, he slates Ryan Yates left, right, and centre. So I think a few people is happy that he's not on. I prefer you, Michaela. So Matt, you need to like him.
I actually thought Yates played well yesterday. I thought he had one of his best games.
This is I'm asking you, Michaela, and you know that I always slate Colback. I always slate him. And
bloody have you?
You know I have. And the substitutions that he made, grabbing Colback and Mighton.
Yes.
Colback came on for the last 10 or 15 minutes, but it was a massive impact.
I thought Colback was superb when he came on. He came on like a man possessed, and his positional play was phenomenal. I will challenge anyone. I will meet you down by the river and fight you. But he came on and he looked. He just looked brilliant. I think.
You want to fight with Michaela? You just meet on the Trent Bridge.
I'll bring Claire with me though because she's a bit harder than I am. But yeah, I thought. Because Colback's got the experience, and I thought he came on, he was attacking everything, and it worked. And I think that's another. And I love that Cooper gave him some props at the end with his, with the talk. He went through kind of the whole team, and he said that Colback came on and did a job, and I think he really did.
I was thinking and this problem, I think. Even Ryan Yates, everyone slates Ryan Yates. I'm not about Matt, but everyone slates Ryan Yates. And there was a question about Garner, and I'm gonna ask you, Des, and Michaela or Stephen can ask as well. Garner, yes, we won yesterday, but was he great yesterday? I didn't see him do much for us.
No, he's kind of got this second loan spell syndrome thing going on, hasn't he? We remember with Gary Gardner and to some extent Colback. I'm a Colback fan, but it's that thing where I think because we were so desperate, we built him up to be something a little bit more than what he was. Yes. And he's probably feeling a lot of pressure on his shoulders. He's only young, he's still a young player. He's still going to go through good and bad spells. Yesterday, as the game wore, and I was saying to you, he looked like he was lacking in confidence. Basic thing. What happens with professional footballers when confidence goes is the basics just go out the window. They can't lift the ball off the ground. They kick it out of play when they'd never kick it out of play. And it just looked like his confidence was starting to sort of wane. With that added pressure, every time he gets the ball, we're all up looking for him to do something because of the workman-like sort of midfield and not much going on in there in the first half. Of course, as the game went on, the pace picked up, and I think that suited him a lot more. The pace in the game, he can move it around. That's when he becomes dynamic. When it's all on his shoulders there, I don't think it's quite happening. And it's a lot. The guy's still young, and he's still making his way, isn't he? So, he's not. In short, he's not been fantastic this season, but hopefully with a few wins and a bit more fluidity, and perhaps stumbling across a formation or a lineup like we did yesterday, he might just sort of click and go again.
I think having. Oh, sorry, Ben. I was going to say, it's hard. It's hard, I think, with that formation. I think if you play Garner with Colback, for example, he's a little bit freer to move the ball around and stuff. I think sometimes having both the young guys in together, Yates and Garner, it restricts him slightly, and it's a bit. They kind of fall over each other, and they don't really. I don't think they work that well together personally.
To be fair, I think me and Des mentioned it. I think the first half, definitely with them two, was weak in midfield. Yeah, definitely weak.
They looked young, and it looked a bit sloppy, didn't it? So I think.
When Colback come on, I think it is slightly improved. Slightly
yes,
improved. It got better and better. So You can't.
Especially when you have 4 at the back, I think it will help. If you have a 4 at the back, I think you want Colback in the midfield personally. But then with the 5, it probably doesn't work with Colback. So,
but to be fair, I think yesterday, we mentioned, like me and Des mentioned, I don't know if you've seen it. Joe Worrell, he can't play the back 3 because I think in the first half, I personally think he struggled against Millwall.
I said that to Saturday, Ben, in the game.
Yeah, he's out. I think he's playing in the wrong position, though, isn't he? I think that's what is favoured. Yeah, and it's a lot of football for Joe. I think he's an old-fashioned defender, person. And I think it's funny because he has these. I think I love him to death, and I think he has these games where he gets better and better, and then you're like, oh, there he does something brilliant. But I think it's the system. He's learning that system. I think it's going to be a bit of a learning curve for him to have to play the ball out because it's going through Joe a lot, isn't it? That side and having to push the ball forward, which he's not used to.
I noticed during the game, I thought he started a bit of confidence was going with Joe as well, just because of that formation. In a 4-4-2, you know what a rock he is. But the 3, just getting used to it and used to where he should be and sort of playing that ball down the line, it just felt he didn't quite get it right a couple of times. And the confidence was going a little bit, but he's all our favourite players. We know how good he is. I think in time, if he continues with that formation, he'll grow into it. But I also think he's playing. I just get the impression he's playing a little bit with an injury, and we know how important he is. And of course, any manager knows how important he is just by the fact we feel better, when he's on the pitch. So I wonder if he's still carrying a knock. I remember the first game back at Derby, he kept going over, stretching, and things like that. And I've just got the impression since that he's perhaps carrying that forward.
Yeah, because he kind of looks knackered too. He's like sweating like a pig and stuff, isn't he? But I think you're probably playing 90% fit Joe Worrell just because he's going to give you 110%. So I think he'll learn, and he's still a young defender, isn't he? We always forget how young Joe is. So I think he'll get better and better. But it's just learning that new system and just having to play more football is probably more of a challenge for him. I thought they all had a bit of a shaky start, the back 3, and I love all of them. Like all 3 of them, I think are phenomenal. But they all had a bit of nerves. There was something not quite working, was there? And then second half, they were brilliant. We didn't really see them. So
100%. The 6-9 people in, and like I say, if no one knows everyone, I'm Ben. McClay's next to me. Stephen's here. I've got Des next to me. So if you want to ask any questions, ask away. There's a question from Richard. Like I said, everyone grabbing came on and he scored. Would you keep 11 or bring grabbing back in the start? Let me ask you, Stephen. Would you bring grabbing back in?
For Birmingham?
Yeah.
Birmingham are a big side. They got it's a Harley Dean. They got a few. Yeah, they got that left back Pedersen. They got quite a big back line. So I would, going back to what I was saying earlier, he went with a quick front line against Barnsley. Maybe he'll go more physical with Graham or a Taylor up front against Birmingham. I think he will. I don't think he'll go the same front 3 against Birmingham. What would I tweak? I think he'll go back still play with a back 3. He may put Cole back in and give Garner a bit of a break, maybe.
What's wrong with Yates? What's with Yates doing?
No, Cole back instead of Garner.
Garner.
Keep Yates in. So picking up on the Garner point earlier, my opinion about that is when he came into the team, he was our star man because we were so poor, he stood out. He couldn't do no wrong. But now he's come into this season, like I think Des touched on earlier, we built him up and now he's signed for a year. He's kind of perhaps thought, right, he's trying to settle more, if that makes sense. He's trying to when he came into the team in January, he was just phenomenal when he was just spraying the ball around and we thought this guy's too good for us. But maybe he's come into it now thinking, right, I'm here now for a year and he's trying to settle in and he's quite not clicking at the moment. So I think he might go Cole back and Yates against Birmingham, bit of a rougher side, bigger side. And maybe that's what he tweak. And maybe put Graham up front. And who would you drop though?
That's the problem. Who would you drop? Who would
like you can't drop Johnson. You can't. No. His pace is electric. Maybe well, you call him, what do you call him? Zinger?
Zinky Winky.
Zinky Winky, the Viking, so on. My wife was trying to pronounce his name the other day. She was like, "What kind of name is that?"
I love him though. He's great.
You may drop him, and then Lolly's playing well. I think Lolly is starting to find his old form. I think.
Me too.
He's slowly getting there.
It's like old Lolly's emerging.
I don't think we'll ever get that Lolly back though from that Karanka season. I don't think. No. I think he'll never get to that height again. Me personally, I think them injuries are caught up with him. I know I might be wrong, but I think I'm not saying we've had he's hit his peak, but I think that season he was just outstanding. I think obviously with the Lamucci season as well, but the injuries have kind of hit him hard. But that's what I would do. I would put Graben back in. I think Colback will go back. Colback will get in, maybe over Garner, and he'll keep the back three. And one thing I'll say, Samba did worry me a bit with the kick. I don't know about you three, but it was just like they're trying to play from the back, and he was trying these little chip balls to the left back to Spence or Lowe. I was like, oh my god, what's he doing?
Des, you talk about Samba because I was first off, I'm not gonna swear, he was getting on my nerves. He was annoying me. Des, you tell him, how was he annoying us? It was annoying everyone.
He was, but if that's what he's being asked to do, and if that's what three at the back means, then that's what he's going to have to do, isn't it? He's just got to get it right. The point is, I think the whole thing with Samba, we all know he's a great goalkeeper. He's just got to be focused for 90 minutes, 100% focused for 90 minutes. Yeah. If he's focused and he's entering the game or he's fired up, he seems to be a lot better goalkeeper.
Yes.
It's when he's strolling around the edge of his box, and then all of a sudden,
going for a cup of tea.
That's when he lets himself down. He seems to switch out of games, or he gets too involved with the crowd, or something like that. What we need is a goalkeeper to be fixed on the game. They need to work on his concentration levels, especially if they're going to get him passing it along to the left, chipping it out to the left back and right back. Because a couple of them just sailed straight into the stand, didn't they? Yeah. It was frustrating to watch, but again, it looks like an obvious tactic. So if he's being asked to do it, I think we're going to have to get used to it a little bit, aren't we?
But fair play to him, he threw that quick ball out to set that goal up.
Yeah,
so
he made the goal.
It was that side of it as well. Yeah, if he can continue doing that, like how many times in the past he's just gone back to his 6-yard box and held the ball, be like, come on, throw it out. Yeah. So, but these little chip balls, I was like, oh, what's he doing? Like, please stop doing it.
Yeah. I'm going to ask, okay, like I said, you mentioned Figueiredo, like everyone, even myself, sometimes will critical with Figueiredo, and he almost left Nottingham Forest because I think he was homesick. These last 3 games, I think he's been great in his back three. Are you like happy with the way he's playing?
I think I've always been a Figueiredo fan. I think he's a brilliant defender. The only thing with Figs is he has these moments of madness, and you're like, no, what are you doing?
Daft.
Yeah, that was unforgivable. It's unforgivable. Like, and he had time, and you're like, what are you doing? But I still feel like at Huddersfield and stuff, I feel better when he's in the team. If we're going to play a back three, I think he's fantastic. I think Mbe So could do a good job though too, because I've seen him play for the 23s. He can pass the ball. He's huge. I think he'd be just as good kind of thing. But I think he's injured at the moment because I saw his Instagram thing. He had his leg in a boots, but doesn't look great.
Oh,
but I like Figs, and I think he's been a player that they've really dicked around with. He's been in and out, and off you go, come back. So I think he's done a good job, apart from the penalty, which as a mum of a defender and wife of a defender, unforgivable. But you make mistakes. Like Samba will make mistakes. Players make mistakes, and look, we won, and you can just forget about it now. So, and I think he'll learn from it. But I think he gets a rough deal from the fans.
He does. I think he does. He really does.
Yeah, like worse than probably Yates. I think people really hate Fig. So like the number of the Twitter was going crazy about it. But the other 2 games, I think he's been superb.
I think he was outstanding against Millwall. I think he was outstanding. If you watch that game, he didn't miss one header. He won so many headers, it went unnoticed. He did.
I think he dealt with Matt Smith. Good. He dealt with Matt Smith.
Because Matt Smith did Worrell for the goal, and no one criticised Worrell.
No,
I did.
You know what I mean?
I criticised him.
Yeah, because you sat next to me.
I thought Worrell is not playing great because Matt Smith was killing him.
But Michaela said everyone's ripping figs yesterday, but did you see much about Worrell on Twitter after that goal? That's the thing, see? I love Worrell, don't get me wrong, I love him. But, I mean, you got to get that, you can't just, like the same with Yates. You know what I mean?
Worrell had a bad start to the game, didn't he? He looked... Yeah.
And against Millwall, I said to Ben, run it, Ben, second half, he had a dodgy 10, 15 minutes. He was off. He was kicking in the stand, he couldn't win a header, people were running past him. Yeah, all players go through it.
Yeah.
Des, the same guy. I think this guy loves you, Des. Des looks happy. Des is always happy. We won. We won.
I've got everything to be happy about.
It's the Des fan club.
Wait, I forgot to mention people, and people in the comments, Des is now, he proposed to his partner. So that's why he's more happy. So
congratulations, Des. I saw the pictures.
Because I don't know if anyone's seen the vlog.
Well, Des.
Go check Des's vlog. He got engaged.
And just for Shane's purpose, Warnock won this week.
So yeah, people in the comments, congratulations to Des. Like I said, I feel for your partner, but it is what it is. There's a question I'll ask you, Des. And there's no what anyone can ask as well. Like these new signings we've had, do you think those pointless signings? Because we're not going to see them. Like where's Silva? Where's this right back?
It's weird.
Right.
It's bizarre, isn't it? Because you know my feelings about the club and players and this and that. You know. I'm not going to get on my soapbox about that again. Matt's not mine to argue with.
Told you.
No, that's where me and Matt totally agree. Players just coming in the club that will never play for Forest, and especially if the manager now doesn't fancy him as well. Do you know what's that going to say? My frustration with all that is our best players are always the players that come through the academy. No matter who's the manager, no matter what year it is, over the last 6 or 7 years, the best players are the players that have come through the academy. We've not signed anybody really of any talent. Grabban, of course, has come in and scored goals. Of course, we spent a lot of money on that one, and we knew what we were buying. Joe Lolly before that as well. But since those kind of players, too many players have probably not even been in the city going on match day, on a match day. And that's just unbelievable. The longer these issues with these foreign players go on, for the want of a better word, but that's what they are, the longer they go on, the more likely it is they're not going to play. Because it was COVID restrictions, it's this, it's that, it's the other. What really is going on there, And this is why everybody gets so irate on transfer deadline day. I try and switch out from it now because I don't care. I don't watch it anymore. I want to support the players on the pitch, get behind the manager. I wasn't 100%. He wouldn't have been my choice, the manager, but I'll get behind him. And now I've seen things happen. That's all we can do as supporters is do that. And there's too much about transfers and players, and it's horrible to see because we feel like we're being taken for a ride. That's the problem, isn't it? We feel like we're being sort of done over a little bit because ultimately we're the ones who have to sort of take the backlash of it, And you're crying out for a fullback, and yet we've signed fullbacks that are supposed to be good.
25. Got like 19 left right backs. Yeah. No, it's silly though, isn't it? Because like where we sit in the main stand, they're all filling this little box and they're all in there like civvies, like the Brazilian taking videos and stuff. And you're like, we're probably never going to see that, bloke. Like, why isn't if they're injured, why the hell did we sign them? Like, we should just said, I'm sorry, you can't come. Like, if you're that bad. It's just bizarre. The whole thing doesn't make sense to me. And then you've got an academy.
Well, what happened to the medical?
With talent. Huh?
What happened to the medical? The medical.
Exactly.
You know, what George Boyd couldn't get through an eye test.
Exactly.
You
This
know,
Brazilian guy can barely walk.
these guys are coming straight on a hospital bed from Peru or
they're just like, I've got COVID, but I'm all right, or whatever. It just seems the whole thing is bizarre. It doesn't make sense, does it?
Isn't it the saying that it's with Forest, well, probably like 5-6 years ago, it's been quantity over quality.
Yes.
It's just been numbers, just to get a big squad. Like other club, like Ipswich now, right? I've signed like 20 odd players in the summer, right? They've had a massive turnover of players. They're just trying something new. Yeah. But other clubs, I've said this before in these podcasts, the clubs, especially though I know they can afford it, but they just cherry pick certain areas. Like if they need a striker, they'll just sign a striker, maybe another left back just to fill that gap. What we sign is 3 right backs, 2 central midfielders, 3 goalkeepers, 5 left backs. We never sign a striker for some reason. We haven't signed a striker since Grabham or Taylor. Yeah. Like, why don't we ever sign a striker? I don't get it. And then we build up a squad, and then we got like 30, 40 players, and then other clubs then have got like two centre backs in their books. It's like, oh, we got like 10. It's all. Why can't we just go out and cherry pick 3 or 4 top quality players, than signing 10 players? Like you've all said, 8 of them won't even play.
Exactly.
No,
like this Brazilian boy now. Like Steve, I think the only player we'll see is the Paraguayan, I think.
Steve, I genuinely think if Lamuche had signed 3 players of the calibre of which came in his era, but everything went wrong, as we know. If he'd have had Arter, Knockout, and Taylor.
Taylor, yeah.
I genuinely believe that team would have gone on.
Yeah.
Well, that January when we signed, we brought Tyler Walker back. We signed Bong, that guy from Diakavi, and we signed Da Costa. Yeah, that was terrible. Like we should have kicked on. We should have signed a top strike. Like I agree with you, Des. We would have gone up. I think we would have gone up that season if we had signed 2 or 3 quality players, but that was awful. And then that summer, then we signed 15, 16 players. It's crazy.
It just doesn't make sense, does it? It doesn't make sense.
No.
So you should get. You have a backup, and then you have a guy like Finn back in the academy, and you're like, he can do the job if we're really in trouble. But we don't. We just say no. We're not going to use any of our talent that we've developed and we love and we want to do. It doesn't make sense. We've been crying out for another striker. Just spend the money there. We've got enough talent. Our squad's good enough. Like that's what's going to win us the league, though, isn't it?
You got to look at teams like West Brom. I know again the yo-yo clubs are. Look at their squads, and if you go back 2 or 3 years, I bet the majority of the squads are the same. If you go back to our squad 2 or 3 years ago, maybe Lolly, and that's it. It's completely new. But like if you go back to the Billy Davis's days, his first time, and then a couple of seasons, Billy Davis, he only tweaked 1 or 2 things. If you remember, he went in the summer, he just little subtle changes. He never went, right, let's change the squad. It's just been mental. Out turnover of players. It's like 80 players in like 3 years. Something stupid like that.
And
it's crazy.
It must destroy the dressing room. You think all these players coming in, and then when you bring in loan players and you favour them above all your talent, that's awful. That's like saying, so you say to Joe Lolly, I'm not going to play you, we're going to bring in this guy. And then he pisses off after 6 months, and it's like, oh, great, well, thanks very much. And now you want me to do a job for you. It makes no sense.
I personally think I'd rather us sign just 2 loan. I'm not a big fan of loan players because it just benefits the parent club.
Me too.
Yeah.
I think Matt said that as well. He's not a fan of loan deals as well. So I think Matt said
that. I understand.
But they always have to play them as well. It always seems to be like, you sign our guy, we want you to make him better, screw your own team up. And I think loans is when you have a catastrophic industry, like Grabban gets injured and you're like, God, we really need someone. And that's when you bring them in.
The best loan.
The reality is with these guys, these South American guys, is they know they're on holiday as much as we do from the Instagram. Yeah, they're here for a good time, not a long time.
Do you know, right? The only time loan deals work, and I've said this, Ben will agree with me with this. I've said it many times. The best loan signing Forest have ever had is Nicky Shorey at left back.
Yeah.
He was
that season. If we had kept him until the end of that season, we would have gone up. Because he was the best left back we had in many years.
Who's on the left back from Liverpool? Is it Paul Francesca?
Yeah, he was a season after.
Yes.
He was season after,
but Nicky Shorey was, and the balance he brought to that team was unbelielievable, and he's a left back, and that was
Paul Francesca was good though. Well, I think
he was all right. He was all about the money. He was though, because he used to go like that to the fans all the time, didn't he? He was like he loved his money, but I'm not saying loans don't work, but I'm not a big fan of like 5-6 loans, like Michaela said. That must, these players coming in. They're not Forest players. No. They're going back to their parent club. So that's got to disrupt the dressing room. Like there's so much high turnover.
Question from Richard Smith. With a striker at the top in January, who would you bring in? Like I know there's quite a few
Brewster.
Players. Everyone keeps mentioning Brewster.
Only because he's got a relationship with Cooper. But I don't think the Blunts would I don't think they would loan him to us because they'd never sell him. So I know you heard Cooper's got a good relationship with him, so it might be an option there.
I don't know.
I wanted that Magic kid. I think he would have been good. I'm only going on the documentary, but I thought he would have been. I thought he would have been exciting.
He had attitude. He's like grabbing. I think he had attitude.
Grabbing's not done bad for us though, has he?
No, he's not done too bad for us, but I think his attitude. I don't know if anyone's seen the Sunderland Till I Die documentary. He had the same attitude as Grabbing, but I wanted him because he was young, fast, scoring goals.
I just think young, fast, get him up there with the rest of the boys. But
I think he did well for he done well for Sunderland. Then he was on loan at Fulham as well. I think
he did really well at Fulham, and now he's in France, probably rotting. Poor thing.
I can't think of any of the strikers we could go after though. Who's out there? No one comes to mind.
It's going to have to be someone cheap, isn't it?
And no championship team are gonna. Like I said about Brewster, but I can't. Well, would they really loan him to us? They're a rival, aren't they? So yeah,
that's what I think we need. I think I love Lyle Taylor, but I don't think he's. I think he's not the same quality as Graben, is he?
No. There's a thing I don't like. Do you really think Taylor will go? Like I think he was close to going to Birmingham, wasn't it? He was close to going to Birmingham.
I don't think he'll go.
Do you think he'll go?
No. You see. I think he'll stay this season.
I think they'll keep him to make sure we've got backup. Yeah,
I think I know it goes back to character, but I think he's still a good person to have in the dressing room.
I don't know if everyone knows that Scarlett from Spurs. He'll be a good learn for John. I don't know if you don't know who he is. Scarlett. He's like a Brewster basically, and he's quite talented. If no one
he's at Spurs, he can't be crap, can he?
That's a big shout out to my Spurs mate who's watching us now.
Yeah,
is it?
Yeah, he's a good player.
Put the word in.
Yeah. Next one, and as we know, Brent Johnson has been fantastic for us so far this season. And he's out. What's that, Michaela?
I was saying he's gone on leaps and bounds. I think he's from watching him in the 23s years ago, and now he's like a man. It's so nice to see.
I think the problem is that now Houghton's gone, but I think I'm going to say like he wasn't a fan of Houghton. So
no, God no. Who was? Let's face it. What player was a fan of Houghton when he left? They all were like, "Don't let the door hit you on the way out." No, not one player said.
I think Garner might have been a fan.
Garner, I think why? I don't know if everyone's seen it, and because Houghton's gone, I don't know if it was in the. I think it was in the Evening Post because Man U have got a clause to bring him back in January. I think that's the reason why Garner come to Forest because of Houghton. So there's been hearsay about he got a learn clause to go back to Man U. But there's a thing like this question for you. If Garner goes back to Man U, would you be happy about it or sad? I'll start with you, Des.
I think what we've got to look at in the next couple of weeks, what's going to determine any of this is whether Steve Cooper actually fancies him. You know, we've not seen Jack Colback around the starting lineup for weeks.
Yeah.
You know, but Cooper's come in, and there's always somebody who comes in from the cold when a new manager comes in. You know, somebody who's obviously got ability. What any of us think of him, I like him as much as these guys, but he's obviously got the ability because he's been a Premier League player. And there's always that player who's kind of been frozen out, who finds his way back into the team. So I think what we'll see over the next couple of games, and it goes back to what you were saying about Grabban on Saturday. Will he play? Won't he play? You know, I think he will play. I think Grabban always plays when he's fit, because Taylor's, for as much as I like him as well, he's kind of let himself down. He's just not performing. So you'll see Cooper really put an imprint on the team. We've mentioned already, Millwall was poor in terms of performance. Barnsley was poor first half. All of a sudden, you've got Grabban and Colback on the pitch, you know, and the game's changed. They could be the players that he really fancies to take forward, you know. And I think, going back to the original question about Garner, it's going to depend on how the manager fits in Yates, Garner, Colback, you know, and how the formation works around that. And I think we'll know in the next couple of weeks. And if he goes back, you know, he's gone back because he simply hasn't performed this time. Because if he performs in the next 3 or 4 games, we're all going to be back on side and go, we want him to stay. But if he's not performing, you know, he's not our player at the end of the day. As much as I don't want him not to perform, you let him go, don't you? Because that's football. That's what the manager's brought in to do and make big decisions.
Yeah, and I saw.
Yeah, go on, Michaela.
I was going to say, I saw my husband pipe up with Fauna. I think Fauna could do a job. I think he's phenomenal. That kid's got talent coming out of every pore of his body, and I think he's our player. I think he's brilliant. The way he can pass the ball, and he's so aggressive. I think I really like Garner, but if he was to go back, Fauna would be brilliant, and I think Jack, for a more defensive one, would be a phenomenal replacement. So, but I think Fauna would be. He's really, really good. I rate him very highly.
Where's the thing? And the comment here, this is not at theirs. What about this Paraguay player? If you can't just leave Forest, we keep forgetting he's at Forest.
Well, if you go back,
can I just say something? His horrible fashion sense. Someone needs to burn the shirt that he was wearing, walking around the ground, because
if you're going by go on. Sorry. Oh, go on about his shirt. Go on.
No, it's just so
burn
bad.
his shirt.
That black thing.
Hashtag burn the shirt. If you're going by the rumours as well, and one of my Swansea mates have said it to me as well earlier on, is that what if we sign Jay Fulton as well from Swansea, which is the big rumour? That's another midfielder. So if Garner goes back to United, Jay Fulton may come. And where does he fit in? So what happens to people like Cafu and people like that? Because Jay Fulton is, what I've seen of him, what I know of him, he's a more of a Ryan Yates kind of player. Destructive, he's not like a Garner. So it's going to be interesting what happens with Garner, really, if he goes back, because,
I forgot about Cafu.
I know this big.
Yeah, exactly.
We've got the biggest squad.
That's what I mean, Ben. It's quantity.
But we've got players like Cafu. We've got a Paraguay player. We've got freaking hell. How many else players we've got in that midfield that can't get in a bloody team?
Cafu must be really pissed off, mustn't he? I'm not a fan of Cafu personally. I
wasn't a fan of him when he first come.
No, I just think
I think he was one of our better signings from Olympiacos. I think he was one of the better ones that we had.
Yeah, but
it's a low bar. It's a low bar, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
And there's the question on this, and this will be straight to Michaela. What do you think? Do you think Steve Cooper will future Giacovalio? Right, let me get the popcorn. Michaela loves this guy. I wait here.
No, Zhao a few years ago was brilliant, and like under Karanka, he was phenomenal, and I loved the link-up play with him and Lolly and Graben. Those days have gone. I think Zhao is not the player that I love and that I remember. I'd love him to come on and be brilliant, but no one's giving him a chance. So something's going on. He's either terrible in training or something's going on because no one's picking him. So I don't know. I don't think he'll fancy him. I don't think he's.
I think he'd be a good false number 9 because Zinger. I don't think he was good. Well, he wasn't a striker today because Lolly, Johnson, and him kept changing. So
they can rotate though. It's flexible, isn't it?
Yeah, I think Zink though he's aggressive and he's passionate. Yeah. I just don't think Zhao plays like that, and I don't think Cooper will fancy him personally. I think Zhao will be gone by Christmas.
Yeah, I think it's his last contract, isn't it? It's his contract, isn't it?
I don't know. Yeah, it's signed like a 95-year deal. I have no idea, but and I'm a big fan. To me, he's one of the best footballers we've seen at the City Ground for a long time. But I just don't know. I don't know if that footballer still exists. When you go and play in the Spanish second division or wherever it was, and then you come back and you're not played, it's going to be a tough road back, isn't it? I don't think he'll ever feature in the team, like being a first team pick.
2 years.
I think with Carvalho now, I think it's a case of, and I've heard a lot of Forest fans say this, and unfortunately for Carvalho, it's got to a stage in his career now where we're just saying, if we're 2 or 3-0 up, throw him on and he can just do what he wants because we're comfortable.
Yes.
Think about like if Forest winning 2 or 3-0.
Yeah. Exactly. And unfortunately for him now, he should have been the player that we signed where if we 1-0 down, throw him on to change the game. And he can't. Because I was talking to a Forest fan last Saturday, Lee his name was, who joined us at the Union, and he said that game against Middlesbrough was one of the best individual performances he'd seen in a Forest shirt. That day when we went, was it 3-0? He ripped them apart.
Yeah. Now, it was phenomenal.
Yeah, but the pressure was off. We were safe. Nothing was much. But we signed him on the basis where if we needed him to change a game, he'd do it for us. But them days are gone. It's just a shame for him because I agree with Michaela. I think sometimes, right, his footballing brain is too quick for the other players because if you could, he's got a nice little pass in him. He can thread through balls, like that season with Lolly and Cash and all them players. Oh. He was outstanding. But then, unfortunately, he got to a stage we were like, this guy isn't changing the game for us. He's lost.
No.
And that's what we signed him for. It wasn't a case of, I'll just throw him on now. We're 4-0 up. He can just enjoy himself. No, he needs to be more than that.
And like this guy just said, Tom, I agree with Tom. I think with Cooper being Mr. Positive, maybe you can maybe Zhao will feel like, this is my chance. I can be myself. Like Lolly with his posts, like I can play exciting football now. Maybe this is what Zhao needs. Maybe this is we'll see something that we haven't seen for 3 years. But I don't know. I hope so because he's a really nice guy, and I think he actually is a football nerd. He loves football. He loves playing. I'd love him to succeed with us. I'd love it. But
I think everyone would want any Forest player to succeed, but it's just since Cooper's come in, he's been on the bench. He's been on the bench for Forest. Yes. He's not come on.
I think Colback's got more of a chance of playing than Zhao has. Put it that way. So
I think, like I said, when we play the false number 9, I think Zhao Carvalho he could play. I don't know in that role in that front 3 role because he's got freedom. He's a player he likes playing with freedom.
Yes.
So,
can I just say one thing about Colback as well quickly? We're on about attacking play and stuff. Come back to the Houghton where it was so negative. Do you recall the game last night when Colback came on? He had a shot. He was way up the pitch. He could have scored.
I see that.
He was on the edge of the 18-yard box. He took a shot. Yeah, and I thought, is he going to nosebleed that high? Yeah.
Colback. You did.
Yeah.
That
shows like.
That shows.
That's an football. I know we were 3-1 up, right? But that's not my point. It shows that we're getting bodies forward now. You know what I mean? Colback was taking a shot on the edge of the box where before he would be sitting. is showing that intent to get forward.
I think Cooper's giving them the confidence to go out there and have a go. I think Houghton, it was like Mr. Negative, Mr. Stubborn, Mr. Safety. And I feel like Cooper's, they feel, you could tell Jack came on and he came on like a bloody roaring lion. It was brilliant. And I think even Grabban came on. He wasn't sulking because he'd been on the bench. He came on like a man possessed, made a goal, scored a goal. So, the manager's getting something out of those players that Houghton said wasn't achievable. And he's done it in a couple of games.
And what was good to see is that Ryan Yates, which my biggest criticism of him, he can't pass the ball forward sometimes. He can't. But last night he did thread a lovely ball through. Was it to Grabban or Johnson? Yeah. He dissected the defence. So it shows again, these players can do it. Yeah. It's frustrating. It's been frustrating. It just shows Ryan Yates can do it. So again,
being at the game, Steve, he actually tried that several times.
Yeah.
And that's the point. You actually seen that ball and that look to play that ball. Whereas in the last 12 months, he's played almost every game and he's never looked for that ball. No. His first thing is to go back. So, and you talk about getting something out of the players, just a slight change of idea, just to give him the confidence to do it. Play that ball. I've watched you for 6 games and you keep playing it sideways and it's coming back at us. Just play it forward. He's got a bit of charisma about him, Cooper. I think that's what the biggest impact he's had so far is the charisma and the cajoling around the team. Almost he's probably harder than Houghton, but he's probably better for them when they win as well. And that's how leaders work, isn't it? And I think that's what we've touched on. But with Yates in particular and certain players, Yates was the classic example though. Just doing something that bit different to what he's done, what we've criticised for so long. I don't know if it's directly coming from Cooper, but somebody's told him to pass the ball forward, it seems. And straight away, he's got an assist to his name. That's going to help his confidence. He's going to want to do that again, because this is what footballers work off these days. And all of a sudden, it's just that injection of something, Colback on the edge of the box or Grabban, buzzing around again. We all know when Grabban's not up for it, his shoulders are back.
He's the worst, isn't he?
So it just seems like there's something happening. And that's going back to the start of the show. That's what we was talking about, wasn't it? The excitement all of a sudden from being, have we got a manager that can really dig deep? It's like, we've just got managers with fresh ideas. Not all managers have fresh ideas. Some of them come in and do exactly the same as we've seen with Chris Houghton. And that was my biggest worry before Cooper, was bringing in a manager who's similar. That's what we were led to believe. Straight away, you see him that he's telling them to play forward. He's putting pace up front. What all we've been crying out for? If you've got pace in any single team, you've got half a chance. We didn't play first half, but the more you run at them, the more Brennan Johnson runs at players. Second half, what did I keep saying, Ben? Get to that byline. I'd like to see him on the right all the time, because if you get to the byline and get the ball in, something's going to happen. Deflections, corners, kicking out for a throw in. Whereas if you're not getting to the byline and the keeper catches it up here, it's move over, turnover possession. So that pace ultimately last night ran them down. But again, it's the difference from what we had and what we've been crying out for. Small things that all of us, we get criticised for having an opinion because we're only fans, but all of us can see it. All of a sudden, all of us can see Cooper.
Their body language is different, wasn't it? At Huddersfield, the players came on and they all looked different. It was like, what's happened? They all looked just energised. I think you can see they respect Cooper. I think they'd lost all respect for Houghton, and I just don't think he was bothered personally. And I every match talk, every post-match interview, I just turn it off when Houghton started talking. Cooper, it was like, he was brilliant. He was absolutely fantastic. He was honest. He's approachable. I think he's going to get the best out of this squad. And I think it's a good squad. I think we've got, apart from all the extras on the side that we don't talk about, the core squad is a good squad. And it deserves to be doing better than it has been.
Michaela, sorry, Ben.
We're just talking about Cooper, and we all thought Cooper was going to play about 5. How wrong were we? Good creative football that Crave carved Barnsley apart. Go on, Des. Well, not Des. Lee. What about to say, Lee? Not Lee. Stephen.
No, just touching on Michaela's point about the players.
We come from Lee, what he said, but carry on, Stephen.
All right. The celebrations after the 3rd goal. It gave me goosebumps.
Oh,
crazy.
We are slapping. I mean, come on.
Yeah, Worrell picking him up, and Mike doing that.
No, but like Worrell picking up Graben. Like out of all the players, you wouldn't think Graben would be the one with giving birth to Joe Worrell. Worrell doing the bongos on his bum.
Yeah,
brilliant. It was
brilliant. I did a tweet that said limbs, and I wasn't on about the fans. You know, there was limbs on the pitch.
Yeah,
limbs on the pitch.
What I would say about Cooper, right? And I go back to, because I live in this area, obviously a lot around Swansea fans, is that I know a lot. I've heard and talked a lot to Swansea fans about Cooper. Now, I said to a lot of Forest fans when he came in, what he will build is relationship with the fans. Cooper will, because already he's done the fist pump, and I was talking to my Swansea. Yeah, I was talking to my Swansea mate the other day, and he said, wait for it. When you win, he'll come straight over to you, and he'll wind his fist up, and he'll do the fist pump, and he did it yesterday. Exactly. Straight away, you build that relationship with the manager.
Yeah, can I put in the last time a manager's done that towards the Forest fans, I think it was Billy Davis. Billy Davis done it as well. But
I think Aitor did it a few times, didn't he?
Yeah, Aitor did it.
He came on clapped, didn't he? But yeah.
You see, like when me and Des saw that him come to the fans and the way he did it, it was just amazing. It was just an amazing feeling, and I know it just felt like, are we back or are we? I don't want to be like ahead of ourselves. Yeah, we've got 7 points out of 3, but it's just a good feeling.
It's what I like about Cooper already, right? Because he's got gift of the gab on the mic.
Yes.
He knows exactly what to say, right? He knows he's almost like he's written a script, right? And he's gone bang 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 bang, right, on his head. He's got it to a T. Like a lot of what I didn't like about Houghton, it was all about the other team. Oh, they're a good side.
Always.
But Cooper, if you watch one of his interviews, he said, that's them. I'm worried about us. Like, what are we going to do? We should concentrate on ourselves. And that's what football's about. You go out there and play your game. Yes, okay, you're up against Man United 1 week and then maybe a week aside. You know, you got to tweak little things. You're playing against better teams. But Cooper's so positive. And come back to my point, I speak to some Swansea fans. They did say one thing. He will get on the fan side. And at the City ground, I'm telling you one thing. When we win our first game under him, he will walk around he will do the full circle and fist pump every corner, and that's what you want.
Yes.
You know,
like listening to Mull of Kintyre, he was watching the fans.
Yeah.
You could see he was so emotional, and I felt a connection to him immediately. And it's it's superficial in a way, but Houghton I had no connection to. I just didn't believe him. I just don't think he was invested in us at all. I'm sorry. There was nothing. I was getting nothing from him.
Billy Davis was the last manager I felt connected with.
Don't mention Billy Davis because
he's going to be going crazy at home.
His first spell. I love Billy Davis. I thought he was God at that point.
What happens when these guys do that is we're all tribal. You know, we're football fans at the end of the day. Yeah. It's an easy win. Tick that one off. Do it every single game. Do you know? And they'll have the fans on side because that's all we want is some passion. You know, we've not seen quality for 25 years.
Actually,
we just want a bit of passion. Somebody who we feel is in it with us, and Cooper's kind of showing that. And I think the players are sensing that as well. Do you know? It's a team sport. You touched on the fact that Houghton, he only talks about the other teams. Do you know? Players don't want that. Players want to be bigged up a little bit. Do you know? Because we've all played in teams of some sort. Do you know? And you want somebody to say you played well. Do you know? That's all part of the process. So if he's saying Colback did well for 10 minutes, well, if he gets 20 minutes next week, do you know, he's going to be his shoulders up. He's going to be flying. He's going to be confident. And that's what it's about. It's about sort of rallying everyone around. And that's where Billy Davies nailed it, especially first time. You know, he created that siege mentality. You know, we were talking about Wayne Rooney a couple of weeks ago and Derby sort of doing better than they should be because he put them all into that mentality that we're in this together. And
against the world.
We've done whatever's gone off. You know, we've got an half decent side like we all seem to agree on. We can do this.
Your mate, as everyone knows, Des got a little love for Warnock, so it's, yeah.
I'm getting quite worried about this guy, to be honest. Some of these comments.
Right. Last but not least, people. Like I said, I always say who's your best, who's your worst player yesterday. I'll start with you, Stephen. Who was your best player yesterday? And who's your worst? No. I won't say your worst. Who was your below par person yesterday?
Samba. Just for them. I know he gave the assist to the goal, but just heart. You know, oh my God, what's he doing? Them little chips out to the left back and right back. I thought he was a little bit sloppy at times. Figueiredo for the penalty.
Yeah.
A little bit iffy. Other than that, outstanding. Otherwise, to be honest, right? Even Figueiredo, them things kind of. I know. Even the best defenders in the world give penalties away. You know what I mean? It happens. You know, I play football myself, and sometimes you do silly things and you know, it happens. You know, and like Michaela said, Figs does have, you know, their moments. So he was stupid, but again, he didn't play bad. And I would say probably Samba for me. And do you know my best player?
Who was best player?
Spence. I think, right, I know form can dip, right, but if you can carry on with this, like at this level, we've got one hell of a player. What, like, unbelievable, the way he was bombing. I haven't seen that kind of right back since Chris Gunter the first time we signed him. When we first signed him, I should say, bombing down that right hand side. Well, Matty Cash was doing it as well, obviously, but out and out right back, I think Spence has been what a player. Unbelievable.
I keep changing it. I've never done.
Yeah, what's going on?
I was like, whoa!
You change your mind more than Steve about the best right back since Chris Gunter. Then,
yeah.
I thought he was doing the right back, left back thing.
I was just questioning what's going on here. But yeah,
I'm definitely not a right back, by the way.
I would say I would give Spence the best. Like him and Johnson, but I think Spence for me, and Samba as my probably the worst player.
Yeah, Michaela, who was your both person that wasn't great?
Oh, I think Garner had a bit of a dodgy game.
Oh yeah, forgot about Garner.
I don't think he got into the game at all, and I don't think he I just don't think he was in the pace of the game. And then best player, cool. I thought both the fullbacks played brilliantly. I thought Johnson played really well too. I thought he started a bit dodgy and then he was like on fire. But I think I have to agree with Stephen. I think Spence, and I love his positivity too. I love the way he G's the crowd up, and I think I'll probably give it to Spence too. I think he played really well. I think it's a hard role, and it's I would agree with that. But I think Garner. I think Garner had a crap game for him.
I agree with you. That.
Yeah, and I think probably like you, Spence.
Mr. Daly, you're next.
I think when you're talking about poor performances, I think Garner was the obvious standout.
I think everyone agrees with Garner.
It's the reason we talk about it is because it's surprising a little bit, isn't it? I actually thought, and again, God forbid me for criticising him. Warrell had a stinker in the first half.
Yeah,
an absolute stinker. He just couldn't get going out of position and giving the ball away. The better players were the fullbacks. Spence had a really good game. Really sort of since he's come in. I was interested to see what Middlesbrough reserve could do, and Otia must be
phenomenal.
I have heard it's something to do with his attitude that Middlesbrough got rid of him.
It is that.
Wow.
Attitude. It is.
Okay. So maybe he's probably annoyed Warnock in training or something, and That's
no.
what Des would know about Warnock.
I can't tell you what's happening in Middlesbrough. But the best players, I think, the best player on the pitch by a country mile, and I think is going to be paramount to whatever Forest do this season, is Brennan Johnson. You know, if we've not got Brennan Johnson, I think we've got a real battle on, because I look from the Derby game, from when he came back into the team, for whatever reason he missed that game or two, but he's just been building gradually, building into that role. And like I say, when he's getting down that wing, we haven't got another player that can get to the touchline and put a ball in. Whatever Zinkernagel or Lolly are doing, they don't get to the touchline and get that ball in, or do a little bit of magic. Good play from, what's his name for the third goal? Mighton.
Yeah, he did. That was brilliant.
Yeah.
The standout player by a mile last night was Brennan Johnson. And he got the stats, he got the goal, he got the assist, and the amount of... I'd be interested to see some individual stats on how many runs he made, how many runs down the line off the ball as well. And they're all interesting things to take into consideration. I think Cooper needs to wrap him up. His job and his good start at Forest could all depend on Brennan Johnson and how he uses him. It was really interesting that he used him up front last night, and it wasn't until he took him back out of position that he really performed. So it's important to see. But for me, Spence played really well. Brennan Johnson was man of the match. And then the subs made
a massive part.
Graben, Colback.
Even Colback. I can't believe I'm saying that.
And one player I always mention, one player I think gets overlooked, and I've just seen a comment. McKenna, he's a 7 or 8 out of 10 every single week. And
he's a colossus.
When Worrell wasn't in the team, he was Worrell. He was that player. He was just that brick wall. And yesterday, I felt he was carrying the defence in the first half. Yeah. The three of them, he was the one who kind of had something going for him. So he's definitely someone. If we can get him and Worrell sort of on the same wavelength, we've got a really formidable partnership. And of course, Samba concentrating. We should keep some clean sheets.
My turn. I'll say person that will inform. I'll say Joe Worrell. I think I wasn't impressed with him first half, if I'm honest. Garner as well. I wasn't. I'll say Garner. The whole game, I didn't think Garner was good. Best player, as you mentioned, I think Johnson. Johnson for me was the player for me. I like Johnson. I just hope he signs a contract. But
me too. I think he might now.
I hope he does. I think
now Houghton's gone, that pen's getting a bit closer to the paper. I think before it was like, where can I go? Where can I go?
I think he's worth 20 million now, though.
Yeah, but he needs to sign a contract. He's got to set.
I know, but I think
he needs a season with us, though. I think it'd be a mistake for him to.
If it comes up, his price has doubled since the start of the season, because he has been sort of the one shining light so far as a whole over the season.
He's improved exponentially, definitely.
100%. Right, people, we've been here an hour and 10 minutes, but it's been another great show. It's been a fantastic show. When people put in the comments, I like, who would you prefer, Michaela or Matt? Because I know people.
You better say me, people.
There's 84 people in. Who do you prefer, Michaela or Matt? Because Matt, he can talk forever. Matt can, but he's all right. But as well, if you are new to the channel, please do hit the subscribe button. And as well, we've got Daily as well. As well, Des did a fantastic vlog as well. So please go on, check his. What was your time, Des?
I was pacing on Sunday, so I did 2 hours 30.
What was your time? Stop trying to dodge the question. What was your time?
2 hours 30, but I was pacing.
He's pacing.
I did it in 12 hours.
Yeah. But yeah, people go on, please. Where's Stephen gone? He's gone.
Stephen's given up.
Yeah, but people like to go on after this. Go and watch my vlog as well. But yeah, it's been a pleasure, everyone. Thank you very much, Des.
Cheers.
Michaela, thank you for coming on, Michaela.
See you at Birmingham.
Yeah, you're coming to Birmingham, aren't you? I've got to wait to stay away from you then as well, don't I? I'm going to deal with Matt as well. But people, it's been a pleasure. Stephen's coming on. Back on, Stephen. What? Stephen, what happened, Stephen?
It's called Welsh Wi-Fi.
We're back to go, Stephen.
I just put 50p in the meter now.
You Welsh people, eh? But Stephen, thank you.
Hey, Ben, what were you saying? Steve Cooper's Welsh, right?
Yeah. My dad was born in Barry.
I apologise.
Just tell you a little side note, right?
I've got a good following in Wales, so I'm not trying to disrespect you at all.
Just say about Steve Cooper, a little side note, is that he managed Swansea, but his father is a massive Cardiff City fan.
Oh, God.
Yeah, because that caused a bit of rip. Yeah, because his dad used to go and watch him, obviously, down Swansea. So there's a bit of like Auckland, I said, he's a massive Cardiff fan, where his son is managing Cardiff's biggest rivals. Wow. Yeah,
Steve is a massive Forest fan now because he was at the game last night.
Gotta be, yeah.
Right, people, thank you very much. Like I said, thank you, Stephen. Thank you, Des. Thank you, Michaela. If you are on the channel, please hit the subscribe button, and I'll see everyone soon. But everyone's happy, and up the Reds, everyone. Up the Reds.
Come on!
Reds!